Today, we're talking about meeting prep. Every administrator has to deal with this. You've got a meeting coming up tomorrow morning and a stack of things that you were meant to read all week, but you didn't. It got busy. The agenda, a couple memos, the meeting minutes from last time. You skim it as you're walking down the hall and hope nothing catches you sideways. This is what I would do instead. We bring in Claude Cowork to help us walk through that process of analyzing all our documents, and it spits out a quick brief that we can read before our meeting and be prepped as we walk into the door. Okay, just like last time, here we are in Claude Cowork. If you remember correctly, we are working out of our Maple Ridge Community Schools project folder, and all of the workflows that are happening that we're demonstrating over the last few episodes and the next one coming up originate and are stored inside of that Maple Ridge Community Schools project folder. And inside of that, we talked last time, we did our policy explanation, workflow, and demo, but we also have our district profile and our brand guide to provide some context. And now I've gone in and created a new folder inside of here called Meeting Prep. Inside of that, I have created one specifically for our cabinet meetings. So I have preloaded, like usual, some information in here. I've got our agenda that we will be using. I've got our minutes from the last 3 cabinet meetings and an update on our capital projects, as well as some community survey results and an enrollment update as of June 1st, 2026. So we're going to use this information to help walk through how you would do a meeting prep workflow in Claude Cowork. Hey Claude, inside of Maple Ridge Community Schools project folder, I have created a new folder for meeting prep, and inside the meeting prep folder, I've created a cabinet folder to help me prepare for my cabinet meetings. If you would go ahead and familiarize yourself with the files that I have put inside of the cabinet folder for today. I have a cabinet meeting tomorrow morning. I want you to go through each agenda item. I want you to tell me where we left it the last time we met, what's new this week, what I'll need to decide on for this coming meeting, and let me know if anything has been sitting open for too long. Try and keep it to about a page and make sure that you are able to review all of the information before you start working on the meeting brief document that I'm asking you to put together. Please let me know if you have any questions, and let's get started. Now, the one thing that we did there at the very end is I said, please let me know if you have any questions. This is a great way to prompt AI because if there's anything unclear about what you've said, it can ask you a clarifying question before it goes on to do the work that you've asked it to do. We'll go ahead and send this off to Claude. All right, so it came back with us and said, hey, I'm going to start by exploring the folder, see what files you put there. It went through and read the 7 different files, and it did come back with a question for us. It says, how would you like the brief to be delivered? I'm going to say for right now, just create a markdown file. All right, you can see here it says, let me get started with a quick task list and then begin to write the brief. So it's creating these tasks and using a different tool set, and it's generating that brief. So we'll have that in just a second. All right, Claude came back and has our brief prepared. So it says the brief is saved in your cabinet folder. It's about a page. It walks through each of the 6 agenda items, where you left off, what's new this week, and what you'll need to decide. It also says 3 things have been sitting open and are flagged at the bottom: the East Side Kindergarten section, the summer PD dates, and the open enrollment retention owner. It says all figures were cross-checked against the June 1 status reports. One thing I noticed while reading, the May 29th minutes say HR was to begin retention outreach, but no owner or date was ever recorded. So that's a loose end that you may want to close at the top of item 1 rather than letting it drift into the roundtable. So we can take a look at the actual brief that was assembled. So you can see here are the agenda items: spring enrollment, capital projects, community survey, summer PD, the June 8th board meeting agenda preview, and roundtable. And then sitting open too long were the 3 items that I just mentioned. So many of us treat AI like it's a place to go to ask questions and to get information. You type something into a chat window, you read the answer that it spits out, and you close the window and off you go. This is a different way to work. In this scenario, you're handing Claude Cowork actual work, the actual folder and all the files and all the context, and it goes through all of that the way that you would if you had time to spend prepping for this meeting, which in most cases you don't, because your schedules are packed and you're just on the go from thing to thing to thing. So here's the real benefit. Once you've got the basic version working, there's more in it than just a summary. And this just is scratching the surface. This is where you're really going to start to get back time. You can ask it a harder question. You can drop your board policy and your strategic plan into that same folder. And then you can ask where anything pulls you off of your strategic plan. That's the stuff that bites you in a board meeting, and it's exactly what you never have time to really dig in and check by hand. Use it after the meeting too, not just before. Tell it what you decided, and it writes the recap and the action items and who owns what. You can even record your cabinet meetings and drop that audio file into the project folder and have it extract the information. It can take that information and pull out to-dos. It can assign who's going to follow up with what. And it can even create the follow-up document and send it out in an email so that you don't have to. That's real time back in front of you that you don't have to worry about following up. And here's the thing that makes this system really powerful. You continue to feed the system. Every agenda, every set of minutes, all of your to-do lists, the things that persist over multiple meetings. And 6 months from now, Claude is going to know what you decided about things that happened 3, 4, 5 months ago, what's still open, and what still needs attention. That allows you to quit digging through your old files, your old agendas, your old minutes, your old emails, trying to piece together all of the things that were decided through the course of an incredibly busy school year. This same workflow applies to any meeting that you're prepping for. All you need to do is provide the context, provide the background information, and Claude does the work for you. It can be information from a board work session. It could be documents and info related to bargaining. It can be a hard one-on-one meeting that you've got coming up. Same process. Create a new folder, drop the files in. Claude helps you prep. And here's the best part about this whole process. So I'm going to come in here and again, using the voice input feature. Hey, Claude, everything that we did to get through this meeting prep brief, I want you to turn that process into a skill so that the next time I have a meeting that I need to prep for, that I can just say prep for such and such meeting, and you will kick off that skill and start working your way through that. Help walk me through how to create the skill to execute this workflow. All right, we'll send that off. And you can see right down here, it says this is a great thing to turn into a skill. The workflow we just ran is clear and repeatable. There's a skill creator skill built for exactly this. Let me load it and we'll follow through. Okay, so it comes back and asks me, which meetings should this skill cover? I'm going to have it cover any meeting. So we'll say any meeting that was recommended. How should the skill find the right files when you say prep for X? I want it to look for a folder by meeting name. So in this case, I set this up that the folder would be called cabinet. So I'm going to have it look for that. What should the brief always include? Yeah, the brief, we want to use the 4 we used and maybe add prep questions as well. So answer that way. And the default format and length for the brief, let's do approximately a 1-page markdown as recommended. Claude just finished up with the meeting prep skill. It says, here's your meeting prep skill packaged and ready to install. Click Save Skill on the card above to install it. Once it's installed, you can just say prep for the cabinet meeting or board meeting or any other recurring meeting, and it will find the folder under meeting prep, read the agenda, prior minutes, status report, and produce an approximately one-page brief. I'm going to click Save Skill here, so that will save, and then this is what that meeting prep skill looks like. And so you can see this is what a skill is. It outlines what the workflow is and what processes that you want it to work through to accomplish that task. So next Tuesday, I'm getting ready to prep for my cabinet meeting next week. And I sit down at my computer, and instead of having to type all this prompting and information, I can simply type in prep for the cabinet meeting tomorrow morning. It does the rest for you. That's, again, the power of Claude Cowork. You build it once and you ask it to repeat itself over and over and over again. A few things to make sure that you know. Number one, I said this earlier, but the data that I used in this demo was obviously made up. You're going to point it to your own folder and use your data. I didn't connect it to anything either. I didn't have it linked to my Gmail or my Google Drive or any other system, my calendar. So when you have all those connectors in place, then Claude also has access to that information if you want to pull that in. This particular workflow was just a folder that existed on a laptop. You can get fancier down the road, but you don't have to. The plain version is going to provide you a lot of benefit just the way it is. Could you do a version of this workflow in another tool? Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of good AI tools out there, but for my money, I'm going to leverage Claude Cowork. I really like the platform, and I really like the model that sits underneath Cowork as a working agent. So I'm not here to sell you on anything, but what I will tell you is that almost nobody in the school world has set up even this much. And it only takes 5 to 10 minutes. You can build something like this week for yourself, and it can provide you immediate value. You point it at a real meeting, you give it the files and the context that it needs, and it helps you prep instantly for work that's coming in the next few days. We've got one more episode coming in this series, and that's going to be a workflow that walks you through how to send a year-end letter out to families and how you get it to sound like you actually wrote it. That's the hard part. We'll see you next time. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button down below. And I look forward to seeing you in the next Claude Cowork for School Leaders Masterclass. Join us next time.